I can hear the words you speak when the west wind whispers. I can hear your voice ring clear in the evergreens. Am I who you thought I'd be? Am I what you pictured? Did you have me standing here in your wildest dreams? Oh, just like a memory, you never left me. You just left too soon. I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. You're written in my soul. It's your blood that I bleed. Wherever you are, wherever I'll be, I'll save you a seat. So I still get shivers, running like a family car down our Giuffre day. Did you find Mom up there? Tell me, are you with her? I wonder if the ones who go miss the ones who stay. Oh, just like a memory, you never left me. You just left too soon. I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. You're written in my soul. It's your blood that I bleed. Wherever you are, wherever I'll be, I'll save you a seat. Keep your room like nothing's changed. Drive it low, but it's not the same. Not down near road, but I heard your name. You had to go, you couldn't stay. So I'll save you a seat next to me. You're always at the table. Hope you're proud of what you see. Watching with the angels. Give her your heart as well as your body. And can you lie next to her and confess your love as well as your folly? And can you kneel before the king and say, I'm clean, I'm clean? Tell me now, where was my fault in loving you with my whole heart? Oh, tell me now, where was my fault in loving you with my whole heart? Attention, but denied my affections, So tell me now, where was my fault in loving you with my whole heart? Oh, tell me now, where was my fault in loving you with my whole heart?
I'm not the wound, I'm not the fall, not the silence, not the war. I'm not the night they couldn't see. I'm the best me rising free. I'm not what happened to me. I'm what I choose to be. Each step I take, I shift, I rise. The past dissolves before my eyes. I'm not what happened to me.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to come up here and say we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. So take your places, find a seat if you need it, and our program will start shortly. Thanks.
Turn across your face, moved us to the light, tough eyes you make, it's something fake, this is not a place, not yet awake, I'm raised and made. Still alive for you. Still alive for you.
look to you and I see nothing. I look to you to see the truth. You live your life, you go in shadow. You'll come apart and you'll go black. Some kind of night into your darkness. Close your eyes with what's not there. Fade into you. Strange you never knew. Fade into you. I think it's strange you never knew. The stranger light comes on slowly. The stranger's heart without a home. You put your hands into your head. And then smiles cover your heart. Fade into you. Strange you never knew.
All right. Welcome to Washington, everybody. I know people have come from all over the country, some even from other parts of the world. So welcome. It's a big day in Washington. The White House Correspondents' Dinner is going on, but this event is the most important event taking place in Washington today. My friends, we assembled to remember and honor the life of a young American woman, Virginia Roberts Giuffre. She is imperishably beloved and precious to her family members who are present today, to Sky and Amanda Roberts, Danny and Lynette Williams, and to her close friends like Deanie Van Muffling. The people here insist that Virginia's troubled but forever infinitely valuable life will never be forgotten, but rather will only become more meaningful and more significant over time. Virginia is precious and central too in the lives and the organizing of the people who may have found each other originally as fellow victims of a nightmarish trafficking operation, but turned themselves into fellow survivors and now act as a movement of engaged citizens leading the country, indeed the world, in an irreversible reckoning over the organized sexual abuse of children, girls, and young women by people who have power over them. And we welcome the survivors and the activists today. We honor the stunning and incomprehensible bravery of Virginia Roberts Giuffre to keep going. She kept going through the successive betrayals of calculating and sinister adults, from her own father to Ghislaine Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein to some of the most powerful men on earth, some known and some still unknown. She kept going through the multiple betrayals of our rigidly unequal and morally impoverished society, our legal and criminal justice system contaminated by corruption and privilege, and our political system infected with complacency, arrogant indifference, and systematic cruelty. She always kept going. Virginia's life and her work teach us all about the irrepressible dignity of each and every human being. Her death and her painfully abrupt departure from life, from our broken world, teach us about the staggering human costs of child sexual exploitation and social injustice. Let us never forget her. Let us never forget any of the victims and survivors. Let us always remember, and let us act to build a better world for Virginia's children and for all of our children.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here with us today to remember Virginia. My name is Tiffany Flowers, and I'm the chairwoman of the Women's March. I first learned about Virginia's work through my role as a board member at the Women's March, and I was deeply moved by her commitment, the commitment of her family, and her tenacity to seek justice, for not just for herself, but for her sister survivors and people like me. Women's March salutes Virginia not just as a powerful individual who so bravely worked on dismantling powerful abusive networks, but also as a woman who maintained her humility and beauty through it all. Her bravery is an inspiration to all of us at the Women's March. As an organization, we represent a movement and not a moment. We recognize that real activism cannot happen in isolation. Women's March is from its inception has stood in the face of abusive, powerful men. We have long called for the full release of the Epstein files, and we center the impact of survivors. We've sent tens of thousands of letters to Congress demanding accountability. We funded billboards across America naming the ties between Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. We went to the Zorro Ranch to demand an investigation and to make sure that the women are remembered for what happened to them in and outside of that house. Following these demands, the New Mexico Department of Justice was pressured to search the grounds. Activism demands community, and that's why we're all here together today. It's tiring, it's exhausting, but without people to stand behind you and take the burden on, there is nowhere to rest. Women's March stands with Virginia, her family, and the incredible group of survivors that we're about to hear today, and thank you again for coming out to remember Virginia.
I'd like to take the time today to read the words of my sisters who couldn't be here today. To begin, Annie and Maria Farmer, who've been part of this fight from the very beginning. They are devastated they could not be here today, but send loving words in memory of Virginia. From Maria Farmer. Virginia became my raison d'etre. She inspired me to seek justice, fight for teen survivors, and learn to enjoy life. She continues to unite people all over the world and inspire them to bravely tell their stories. It was my greatest honor to stand beside her in the fight for justice. And her sister, Annie Farmer, says, Virginia meant so much to me. Her generous and kind spirit, her ability to find humor in the midst of darkness, and her courage and tenacity inspired me to change the course of my life. Thank you, V. I love you. Juliet Bryant also couldn't be here, but she says, Virginia changed the world. She is one of the bravest women in history. Her death broke all of our hearts, but she will live on forever in history. As she used the butterfly symbol, she also created the butterfly effect. She started off a chain reaction that will heal the world and save many children. Virginia is and will always be an angel. Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Hi, my name is Anushka DeGiorgio. I'm a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. I first learned Virginia Roberts Giuffre's name about 11 years ago when I discovered that she too had been victimized by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. In that moment, I felt it on two levels. An overwhelming grief, because I understood firsthand what she had endured, and at the same time, a quiet, life-changing realization that I was not alone. Little did I know that years later, I will be standing shoulder to shoulder with her and with many of the survivors here today at the 2019 dismissal hearing following Epstein's death, a moment that will stay with me forever. I am grateful every day that she was born and that she left this world knowing what truly matters, to care for the people you love and to stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. I will never forget what she sacrificed in the pursuit of justice. That is her legacy, and now it is ours.
Virginia's courage opened the door for all of us to be seen and heard. We will keep shining in her honor, knowing her light is guiding us every step of the way.
I just have to move the mic. To beautiful Virginia, you are the definition of courage. You have started a movement and proved that one small girl can in fact change the world. When survivors like me have sat in the darkest corners of our shame and pain, your effervescent light has illuminated a path out. You took shame and turned it to power. You are the music that keeps us all moving. Thank you.
When I think of Virginia, I think of a woman who carried a story far too heavy for one person, yet still chose to share it with courage. When silence would have been safer, she chose truth. She chose light. She chose to protect others by refusing to stay quiet. Because she spoke, people like me learned we were never alone. She moved through life like a butterfly, transforming pain into power. Virginia is a hero, and her wings are still fluttering, fragile, luminous, unstoppable, pushing the world forward. Thank you.
It is an incredible honor to be here today on this profoundly important day. Last year at her memorial hearing, the survivors and her family speak so beautifully about Virginia, about how long and how fiercely she fought for all of us. Virginia gave me the strength to break my silence. Today is a day we will remember, a day of courage, a day of resilience, and a day to honor her legacy. This fight matters. It is bigger than all of us, and it is not over. And we will continue because that's what you would want for us.
Hi, my name is Wendy Pisante, and I'm a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein. Today proves that Virginia's legacy is reflected not in what she endured, but in what she helped create. Progress, recognition, and a continued effort towards justice. As we come together in her memory, it is evident that her impact continues. It is reasonable to believe she would have been proud of the ongoing commitment that we have for speaking out and supporting others, and that we are trying our hardest to move forward with strength and purpose. Today serves as both a memorial and a reminder of the importance of us continuing to come together and speak out. Thank you.
This is a message from Gloria Steinem. As we mourn the loss of Virginia Roberts Giuffre and many gather at this butterfly vigil, we must remember that the flap of a butterfly's wing can change the weather hundreds of miles away. Virginia is with us in memory, and now, as in life, her suffering and her bravery in sharing that suffering will remain with us for generations to come. By sharing her story and her work to keep women and all people safe from harm, you and I can keep her spirit alive. She will continue to protect and inspire us forevermore. Gloria Steinem.
Hello, my name is Laura Bloom McGee. As a survivor, Virginia's bravery changed my life. She paid the ultimate price. When she spoke her truth, she tore down the walls of shame that kept me silent for years. Her courage gave me permission to be visible and to demand accountability and to reclaim my voice. Because of her, I believe justice is possible, and our voice can spark real, lasting change. Thank you.
It's such an honor to be here today celebrating the extraordinary legacy of Virginia Roberts Giuffre. I'm Lauren Hirsch. I'm the CEO of World Without Exploitation, our national coalition to combat human trafficking and sexual exploitation. For the last 10 months, we have had a front row seat to some of the most extraordinary advocacy in American history, and that is not an understatement. We have watched survivors take what everybody said was impossible and make it a reality. And I can promise you one thing, these survivors are not done. But this powerful, unstoppable movement was ignited by one extraordinary woman, and that is Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Her courage, her relentless pursuit of truth and justice, her fierce determination has literally changed history. Today and every day, we honor Virginia, and we are beyond grateful to her beautiful family who are honoring her legacy through action. The work they are doing to lift up survivors and to achieve justice is nothing short of mind-blowing. It is their work grounded in the deepest love for their beloved sister. And now it is my greatest honor to introduce Virginia's dear friend, Deanie von Muffling. Deanie was there every step of the way with Virginia, and we would not be here today without her brilliant work and her huge heart. Deanie.
My name is Deanie von Muffling, and I was Virginia's publicist and close friend of the last 7 years.
To meet Virginia was to fall in love with her, and for me it was love at first sight, or first Zoom. I knew who she was, of course, and thought of her as immensely courageous. I jumped at the chance to be able to help her tell her story to the world. Little did either of us know at the time we began our journey what we would be able to accomplish, particularly in this last year since her passing. I do not exaggerate when I say that she was the most extraordinary person I have ever met. She was, of course, a fearless warrior for justice, but she was much more than that. Deeply loving, generous, funny, brilliant, and intuitive. Her favorite role in life was as mother to her 3 beloved children, Christian, Noah, and Emily, and her many animals, especially Juno, her pug, and Chevy, aka Julius, her horse. In her heart, she remained the girl who loved to ride horses, which made her feel so free. I remember being on a call where she was describing how amazing mushrooms are for their incredibly strong fibers and other attributes. She had been reading a book about them. "Deanie," she said excitedly, "did you know this about mushrooms?" She loved to learn, and she was an avid reader and an autodidact. We spent many hours on FaceTime during the pandemic, locked away in our respective homes with a 12-hour time difference. As I chopped vegetables and cooked dinner, she was having coffee, and we would yap for hours. When the converse was true and I was sleepy-headed, well, let's just say she wasn't cooking, but she was having a glass of wine and letting her hair down after what was often a day of calls with lawyers, or better yet, a day at the beach with her tribe. Without fail, her texts always included terms of endearment like buddy, sweetheart, beautiful, no matter how distressing her news might be. Invariably, before we began discussing work, our conversations would start with her remembering something I had said about my life. She would say something like, "How did it go when you went to the doctor last week?" Or, "Did Olive, my dog, recover from her epic standoff with the groundhog?" She was always concerned about me, in spite of all she was enduring. I was always shocked that she remembered, and then I felt guilty if I took a moment to discuss it. Being public about what had happened to her and so many others at the hands of not just Epstein, Maxwell, Andrew, and Brunel was important to Virginia. She recognized that she had the strength to come forward. It was a responsibility she took very seriously on behalf of all survivors whom she called her survivor sisters. Hundreds of survivors have reached out since Virginia died, sharing how she inspired them to come forward and end the culture of shame around sexual assault and trafficking. I will never forget the day of December 29th, 2021. I called her and woke her up in the middle of her night and got on the phone with her amazing attorney, Sigrid Macaulay, raise your hand, and Virginia's co-author, Amy Wallace, to let her know that Ghislaine Maxwell had been convicted of sex trafficking and would remain in prison. We wept tears of joy again a few months later when the man formerly known as Prince Andrew agreed to settle Virginia's sex trafficking case against him and publicly acknowledged that she was a survivor. That settlement was important to her because it meant she would be able to fund SOAR, her nonprofit organization, whose first priority was to end the statute of limitations on sex trafficking. How I wish she could have been here to see the introduction of Virginia's law in January, that ends the statute on a federal level. And that was her dream. We wept and cheered again when I told her that her memoir that we conceived and worked on together would be published by the esteemed Penguin Random House. I so wish she could have seen that her brilliant book debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list and stayed on the list for 23 weeks. And then watch as Andrew lost his titles and then his freedom. Gloating was not her thing. Justice and accountability were.
Speaking truth to power was. More than anything, she loathed hypocrisy, cruelty, and the abuse of the powerless by those with power. There was a cost to fighting the good fight. I don't want to sugarcoat that while she escaped Epstein and his horrible cohort, she wound up with a man who at first protected her but also betrayed her, in spite of having 3 children together. In the end, his abuse took a toll that she could not escape from. We wept anew when she confided in me that she had reached the end of her capacity to handle the physical and mental pain that she had endured in the last months of her life. And we wept with relief and joy when her brothers Danny and Sky flew to Australia to be with her. They were the only men who had never abused her. Virginia would have wept an ocean to know that her incredible family has picked up her mantle and run with it. Sky, Amanda, Danny, Lynette, I'm proud and honored to serve by your side. We are family. What a year. The milestones of it are too numerous to mention. This week, I looked through our texts of our last few months of texting, and I was surprised to see that she had sent me a song. It was Lean on Me. Please forgive the slight alteration of a lyric. You just call on me, sister, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Buddy, sweetheart, beautiful, I love you.
My name is Fatima Goss-Graves, and I'm the president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center, and I'm also a co-founder of the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund. The Time's Up Legal Defense Fund helps to support thousands of survivors of sexual harassment and violence. It was founded in 2018 in the wake of overwhelming allegations of sexual violence from women across this country, really across this world. It's a movement that helped reignite attention to the voices of survivors demanding accountability for the vast abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell and so many others. But even as people bravely flooded the internet with countless Me Too stories, we knew powerful people would do what they have always done, which is try to shut us down. As people in power use the law to bully survivors into silence, we wanted to use the law to empower survivors to find justice and to find accountability. And that's how the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund was born. And since its founding, 12,000 people have contacted us for help. And we've been able to invest millions of dollars in legal help and media support for survivors and connect thousands with attorneys. And one more thing, we are not stopping. We will keep fighting side by side with survivors for justice and accountability, fighting for women to be believed the first time, and fighting for women like Virginia, whose courage just leaves me so speechless. Virginia had courage in spades, but she shouldn't have had to. Courage cannot be an individual act. It must be a collective responsibility. Courage across the criminal justice system, across all of our institutions,
across Congress who must do their job and hold people accountable, even when those people are powerful. You see, institutions, they must build and strengthen systems that protect survivors, not abusers. Courage is collective, and we cannot let Virginia or the many survivors here be the only courageous people. They deserve better. Virginia deserves so much better. Our democracy actually requires better. So here's what we know about this time. When folks try to speak up, they often are silenced. That's especially true with authoritarians. When people don't feel safe, our democracy is not safe. So Virginia, we do this work in your honor. To the family, we do this work in your honor. And in the honor of all of those who survive and for those who do not, thank you for your courage and for maintaining your truth even when people were not ready to hear it. Thank you. And I am pleased to turn it over to someone who has been indispensable in this effort, a member of Congress who bravely does his job every day. Please welcome back Representative Jamie Raskin.
First, I wanted to thank Amanda and Sky for their incredible leadership and the whole family. My friends, there is a difference between misfortune and injustice. If you were born into an abusive family, as so many of the Epstein survivors were, as you learn from Virginia's remarkable book, that's a misfortune. If you were born into neglect or poverty, or you don't have enough resources to match your ambitions and dreams and potential in life, as so many of the Epstein survivors were, that is a misfortune. But if you were a victim of sexual abuse and trafficking and the government does nothing about it, if a 60-count federal indictment readied at the Department of Justice magically becomes one single count on a weak state charge in the sweetest of sweetheart contract plea bargains in the history of the country, then that is not just a misfortune, that's an injustice, because we can do something about it. If the whole of the government and the political elite organizes to block the truth and to repress change, that's not just a misfortune, that's an injustice, and we're gonna do something about it. The world is filled with injustice, especially towards women and girls, because the world is organized much more around power than it is around justice. The only thing that ever tips the scales towards justice, towards freedom, is the courage of brave leaders and the activism of thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people engaged in solidarity and movement forward demanding change. Virginia Roberts Giuffre was a leader. Generations to come will marvel at her toughness and celebrate her personal conviction and her moral determination to change American society and to change the world. And she is now not just a hero to this movement, but she is a hero to the ages who dwells with other great leaders and heroes of our history, like Dolores Huerta, like Rosa Parks, and like Frederick Douglass. And so I want to leave you with the words of two of our great leaders, One of them, Frederick Douglass, who was born about 45 minutes from here at the Wye River Plantation into slavery, and he escaped from slavery to become one of our great freedom fighters through the Civil War and through Reconstruction. And Douglass said this: if there's no struggle, there's no progress. And the struggle may be moral, it may be physical, it may be moral and physical, but there must be struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. There's a message to you from a great Marylander from the 19th century, Frederick Douglass. And my friends, I'll leave you with the words of the great Tom Paine, who came over to this land in 1774, 2 years before the American Revolution, and he fell in love with our country. He said, if this land lives up to its values and its ideals, it will become an asylum to humanity, he said. Not an insane asylum, mind you, but a place of refuge for people seeking freedom from all kinds of oppression and tyranny from all over the world. And he wrote the great pamphlet of our history, Common Sense, by which he meant the sense we all have in common, the sixth sense we have when we're willing to reason together, speak plainly, and listen to each other without all of the superstition and propaganda and disinformation and fake news. But 1776, the year of our revolution, was a tough year. We like to think everybody was together on the side of progress, on the side of truth and good, but it wasn't like that. Half of the people were running around saying, you can't beat the kings and the queens and the lords and the nobles with all of their privileges. You can't beat the greatest military empire that ever existed. And the other half of the people were saying, well, let's give it a try. Let's try to put government on the principle of the consent of the governed and the unalienable freedoms and rights of all of the people, and the idea that all of us are created equal. So Paine wanted to write a pamphlet to get people through the long, hard, dark winter of 1776. And he wrote this beautiful little pamphlet called The American Crisis. And I just want to quote a little passage for you, and I'm going to update the language pursuant to strict instructions from Nancy Pelosi, who told me that Tom Paine was a feminist and he wouldn't mind. And he was that. He was fighting for women's voting rights in the 18th century. But he said this. He said, these are the times that try men and women's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will shrink at this moment from the service of their cause and their country. But everyone that stands with us now will win the love and the favor and the affection of every man and every woman for all time. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered, but we have this saving consolation. The more difficult the struggle, the more glorious in the end will be our victory. Let's make that victory ours with Virginia Roberts Giuffre.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arisha Hatch, and I am the Executive Director of Ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is a national women-led gender justice organization, and since we were founded over a decade ago, more than 28 million actions have been taken by millions of people demanding that those with institutional power change policies, practices, and laws, and a culture that pretends to protect women and children. Together, we are working daily to create a cost for sexism in order to light the way to a more feminist future. And over time, over that decade, we've built a constituency base of thousands of survivors and millions of allies who have held abusers accountable, from Bill O'Reilly to R. Kelly to Andrew Tate. And we are here today as co-organizers of this memorial to make sure that Virginia, her survivor sisters, and her survivor sisters are centered, believed, and given their flowers. Our members donated these flowers for them today. We are also here today to make clear that they are not alone, and that there are millions of people across the country, across the world, who see you, support you, and who are committed to keeping your brave stories alive despite all attempts to distract from the justice that you all deserve. We've created a memorial book for Virginia, her family, and her survivor sisters. You can find it on our website, weareultraviolet.org, or text Virginia to 98688. We'd like for you to share with her loved ones, and as Virginia, and for Virginia, what her bravery meant to you. What her bravery meant to you. This is really important. Because today is about remembering Virginia's bravery, but it is also a call to action. In the next few days, Ultraviolet will launch the Epstein Accountability Project to make sure the individuals and institutions that enabled the largest child sex abuse network of our lifetime to face accountability. This project will build upon our work to hold enablers like Larry Summers and Peter Attia accountable by forcing them out of their jobs. And we're just getting started. We know the network is so much bigger, and we hope you and your friends and family will join us in creating a cost for the justice that has been delayed for so long for so many. I'm also here to announce performers, the First Amendment troupe. But before I do that, I wanted to close with Virginia's words from her memoir, Nobody's Girl, because they have stayed with me since I've read them. She wrote, "I'm sorry to say that for all that's happened, more action is needed. Much more, because some people still think Epstein was an anomaly, an outlier, and those people are wrong. While the sheer number of victims preyed upon may put him in a class by himself, he was no outlier. The way he viewed women and girls as playthings to be used and discarded is not uncommon among a certain set of powerful men who believe that they are above the law. And many of those men are still going about their daily lives, enjoying the benefits of their power, existing without shame. But even the men who didn't partake of the favors Epstein offered could see the naked photos on his walls and the naked girls on his islands or by his swimming pools. Epstein not only didn't hide what was happening, he took certain glee in making people watch. Because he could, and people did watch. Scientists, fundraisers from the Ivy League, and other heralded institutions, titans of industry, they watched and they didn't care. Don't be fooled by those in Epstein's circle who say they didn't know what Epstein was doing. She also wrote, "Each one of us can make a positive change." I truly believe that. I hope for a world in which predators are punished, not protected, victims are treated with compassion, not shamed, and powerful people face the same consequences as anyone else. We don't live in this world yet, but I believe we could someday. Imagining it is the first step. Thank you, Virginia, for your clarity of vision, and to her family and her survivor sisters who keep this vision alive. And next up, I'd like to bring up the First Amendment troupe. Their powerful performances speak directly to this moment, and we're so glad to have them here today. Thank you so much.
I'm Kim Villanueva, President of the National Organization for Women. Yeah. The largest feminist grassroots organization in the country. While I didn't know Virginia personally, I know her story. I know her strength. And I know her impact on survivors around the world. I'm here to honor her for what she was, a hero. Virginia showed us what courage looks like. She spoke truth to power. She made it possible for others to come forward. She reminded the world of something too often ignored. Predators do not deserve protection, and they do not deserve power. And now we are clear, we believe women. We believe survivors. We believe those who come forward, often at great personal risk, to tell their truths, even when the powerful try to silence them. Today, as we honor Virginia, we recommit ourselves to destroy the culture of toxic masculinity that enables abuse and shields those responsible. Women up are standing up and saying enough. Because of Virginia, women are no longer afraid to speak out or name names. Virginia loved butterflies, symbols of resilience and transformation. They survive against the odds. They represent hope. That is what Virginia represents. That is what survivors represent. And when we stand together, we become stronger, protecting each other and demanding change. We know that real change starts with courage. The courage to speak up, even when you're the only voice in the room. Virginia began that way. One voice, one woman. And her courage ignited a movement that cannot be stopped. Movements like this are built the hard way, often against impossible odds. Survivors know that reality all too well. You have been doing this work all this time. Our next speakers are helping to ensure that survivors' voices are heard and that their stories and Virginia's stories are honored. Please join me in welcoming Virginia's family, Sky and Amanda Roberts, and Danny and Lynette Wilson.
We love you too. I'm going to start by thanking everybody standing here in front of us, the people that helped us organize this event, the survivors standing behind us. Amazing day. It's a little surreal, her being gone 1 year. Today we gather not just to remember Virginia, but to feel her presence in the way she lived, fully, fiercely, and with a heart that never stopped caring for others. To me, she wasn't a headline, a story, or a symbol. She was my sister. She was laughter at the wrong moments, strength when things felt impossible, and a kind of warmth that made people feel seen. She had a way of making space for others, even when she was carrying more than the most of us could ever understand. Virginia was many things: a mother, a friend, a fighter, but above all, she was a human. She loved deeply. She felt things intensely. She dreamed, she struggled, she kept going. That's what I want us to hold on to today. Not the way the world defined her, but the way she lived in the quiet, unguarded moments. The way she showed up for people, the way she tried again and again to build something better out of what life handed her. Grief has a strange way of changing over time. A year ago, it may have felt sharp and overwhelming. Today, maybe it's softer in some ways, but deeper in others. And yet, that grief, that is love, because we don't grieve someone unless they matter. And Virginia mattered. Jenna, you mattered. More than words can hold. If she were here, I don't think she would have wanted us to only be sad. She would have wanted us to remember her spirit, her courage, yes, but also her humor and her stubbornness. I wish that every single person standing on this lawn could know her. She would want us to keep living, to keep loving, to keep showing up for one another. So today we honored her not just by remembering how she left this world, but by remembering how she lived in it.
Yes.
In the stories we tell, in the love we share, in the strength we carry forward, she is still with us. Jenna, you are missed, you are loved, and you will never be reduced to just one chapter of your life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lynette Wilson. Virginia was my sister-in-law, but those words feel too small. To me, she was simply my sister, and I'm forever grateful for the light she brought into my life. The world knew her as a woman who was defined by her bravery and her brilliance. We watched as she stood against injustice with a level of resilience and grace that left us in awe. I could spend forever praising that courage, but today I need to speak to her, sister to sister, because while the world saw the legend that she was, I was lucky enough to know the soul behind the name. I knew her as Jenna. She was a woman who made me a better person just by being in my life. Jenna, it's hard to believe it's been a full year since I last saw your smile or heard your laughter. I often go back and I reread the words you sent to my daughter Skylar on her 16th birthday. I love you to the moon and back again, you wrote. My love for you transcends space and time. At the time, it was a beautiful promise. Today, I know it was a fact. Even on the days when the grief feels the heaviest, I still feel your fierce devotion reaching through every physical boundary. You still find ways to show up for us, always in the butterflies. I see them everywhere now, and I know it's you, checking in, watching over us, reminding us you haven't truly left. Today, many of us are wearing these butterflies as a way to keep your spirit close. My daughter and I feel especially lucky to also be wearing these necklaces that you gave us. They're so much more than jewelry. They highlight the core of who you truly were. You didn't just buy them. You sat down with an artist and described our energy, our quirks,
the tiny details of our personalities to ensure that every crystal was handpicked to match who we are. That was your real superpower. You took the time to truly see people. You understood those you loved with a depth most can never reach. And it was that same empathy that gave you the courage to find your voice and speak out, not just for yourself, but for survivors everywhere. It's such a precious gift to carry you with us, close to our hearts, but it's not just in the things that we can touch that we feel you. The truth is, Virginia, you are everywhere. We see your impact in the lives you changed and the world you shaped for the better. And we feel your love in the quiet everyday moments when we are missing you most. Thank you for everything you did for us and for the world. You are a fighter, a legend, and our hero. Until we meet again, Jenna, I'll keep looking for you in the butterflies, but mostly today I find you in the courage of everyone here who refuses to let your legacy fade. What an incredible honor it was to be your sister. Jenna, I love you to the moon and back again. I miss you.
Whew. It is such an honor to be here with you all. My name is Amanda Roberts, and I am the sister-in-law of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who is just my sister. I've been struggling for days to figure out what to say, because there aren't enough words to describe the place that she holds. And initially, when grief comes, you want to push it away. But I found grief to be my best friend. He reminds me of the love that I carry, so I wrote a poem instead. Hello, grief. My quiet companion, my dearest friend, in the hush of dawn, you and I, with our small sips of coffee, share this table of ache and memory. You alone have learned the language of the tightness in my chest, the places where sorrow settles, like a hand I cannot move. And I still invite you closer. Let me tell you about Virginia. She was a butterfly, but not always. Before the wings, there was a bruise of the cocoon. The dark, the pressing. The world trying to keep her folded. She knew what it meant to be named by pain, to be a victim in a story she never asked to live. And yet she did not remain there. Virginia became her own miracle. She changed, not all at once, not easily, but faithfully. Like dawn, learning how to touch the edges of the sky. From suffering, she made a new kind of breath. She broke open the shell and stepped into her becoming. She did not just survive, she transformed. And that transformation, she changed the air around her. She taught the wounded how to stand, the frightened how to hope, the lonely how to believe. They were still worthy of tenderness. But more than anything, grief, more than the courage, more than the strength, more than the beautiful becoming, Virginia brought love. She brought it like sunlight, spilling over a tired room. She brought it in the way she listened, in the way she stayed, in the way she made people feel seen, held, and less alone. Love lived in her hands, in her voice, in the softness she offered to a world that so often forgets softness. So I sit with you now, grief, and tell you this story. So my sorrow will not only be sorrow, so memory may carry both. The ache of losing her and the blessing of having known her. Virginia, my sister, my butterfly. You were proof that even after the breaking, beauty can emerge. That even after darkness, a soul can rise and leave behind more than a wound. A warmth, a courage, a love that still keeps flying.
My name is Sky Roberts, and I'm the little brother of Virginia Roberts Giuffre. I also struggled with figuring out what to write, and I'll be transparent, I wrote this morning. I feel like I've been putting it off, just couldn't find the right words to say. But the truth is, there aren't any. The truth is that the only thing I could do was write her a letter. And I want to read that letter to you today. To the world, you were known as Virginia, but to me, you were just known as Jenna, or Sissy. Before I start this, in speaking to you, thanks for making me get my first tattoo. Didn't think that would happen, but I appreciate you. Hey, Sissy. I can't believe it's been a year since you left this world. I want to start this letter out the same way I wrote the one last time. That I miss you. I miss you more than words can describe. I also want to start this with sharing with you the amount of gratitude I have to you. You helped shape me into who I am today, and how lucky I was to have you as my big sister. For that, I'm thankful for just you being the person you were, and the person that you were meant to be. As I write this, I just keep thinking about the times we shared together as kids, but also the times we shared as we grew into just bigger kids later in life. And Tanny talked about this. You had such a sense of humor. It's one of the things I love the most about you. And sometimes I can just describe you in one word. Cheeky. As I say cheeky, I think of the time we were on a road trip. I must have been 8 or 9 years old. You thought it was the funniest thing to put on the movie Twister as we were in the heart of Tornado Alley. I want you to know that scared the hell out of me as we lay watching it on our oversized van box TV. I also remember spending hours upon hours laughing with you, crying with you, and sometimes just sitting with you. When we didn't need any words, just knowing being there was enough. You were a protector to me and always kept me safe from some of the most evils in this world. Not knowing that until much later in life, I now understand. You shared this gift with the world. The way you were able to carry this unbearable weight on your back, knowing sometimes others just couldn't do it. This was nothing short than just extraordinary. Because that's what you are, extraordinary. And today, you show the world that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. not with just words, but by the actions you took every single day, by turning pain into purpose. I want you to know you changed the world, sis. You really did. We're going to be standing on the Capitol steps along some of your favorite people. Your survivor sisters. Your friends. Your family. And thousands of amazing survivors from all walks of life. They continue to change the world and refuse to stay silent because you showed us the way, and we carry your torch with honor. I also want you to know how loved you are, and I want to thank you for teaching us to never give up, even in the face of adversity. We don't shed these tears because of the life you lost, but rather the life you lived. You continue to teach the world that it's okay to wear your scars with pride, to show that the ugly people and the ugly things that exist don't define who you are. You do. So today, sis, today is your day. Today is Virginia's Day. A day I know you would want us to be about celebrating survivors around the world. For both those that have come forward and those that have not. To be about inspiring us to continue speaking out, acting, and reclaiming what many of us feel like we've lost. We wear your butterfly pins knowing it's a piece of you with us, providing us with the strength to keep moving forward. The true metamorphosis of transitioning from victim to survivor. I'll end by letting you know, and I really hope you know, you're my hero, and you're a hero to the world. Not just in a definition, but as a sister that truly showed us the way. Rest in strength, power, and resilience. This is not a goodbye, just a I'll see you later. I love you so much. Thank you.
Could we give one more round of applause for Virginia's family? I know that couldn't have been easy. We're so grateful. We're so grateful that they're here and could do that for her. So as we wrap up our time together, friends, I am truly pleased to announce the performance of the lovely, the divine, the most talented Solea Pfeiffer, who you may know from Moulin Rouge, who you may know from Hadestown, who you may recognize from Hamilton's first national tour. Solea is here today to sing Flowers, and when we found out that she could come, we were so happy because we found out that Amanda, Virginia's sister-in-law, is a huge fan of Broadway, so hopefully this can bring a little joy and comfort in your time of sadness. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Solea Pfeiffer to the stage.
Hello. I just want to say I am so unbelievably humbled and honored to share the stage with the bravest people in the world. I believe music is medicine, and I know that this song means a lot to survivors. I do not take being here lightly at all. And so I want to say thank you to the Survivor Sisters, and thank you to Virginia. This is for you.
was to fall asleep, close my eyes and disappear like a petal on a string, a feather on the air. Lily white and poppy red, I trembled when he laid me out. You won't feel a thing, he said, when you go down. Nothing gonna wake you now. Dreams are sweet until they're not. Men are kind until they aren't. Flowers bloom until they rot and fall apart. Is anybody listening? I open my mouth and nothing comes out. Nothing gonna wake me now. Flowers, I remember fields of flowers, soft beneath my heels, walking in the sun. I remember someone by my side, turned her face to mine, and then I turned away into the shade. The one I left behind. If you ever walk this way, come and find me lying in the bed I made. Thank you.
Give it up for Soleil Pfeiffer, everyone. It's beautiful, beautiful. We just wanted to take a moment to close out and thank every single person who was involved. World Without Exploitation, Women's March, Ultraviolet, all of the organizations who helped put this day together. Deanie Von Muffling, thank you so much for just being the rock. We appreciate every single one. My survivor sisters, I love you fiercely. Virginia loved you fiercely, and we're so happy to have this day with you. Sky is going to finish this day with Virginia's words.
page 366, Nobody's Girl. If you've read this far, I hope my story has moved you to seek ways to free yourself from a bad situation, say, to stand up for someone else in need, or to simply reframe how you judge victims of sexual abuse. Each one of us can make positive change. I truly believe that. I hope for a world in which predators are punished, not protected, victims are treated with compassion, not shamed, and powerful people face the same consequences as anyone else. I yearn too for a world in which perpetrators face more shame than their victims do, and where anyone who's been trafficked can confront their abusers when they are ready, no matter how much time has passed. We don't live in this world yet. I mean, seriously, where are those videotapes the FBI confiscated from Epstein's house? And why haven't they led to the prosecutions of any more abusers? But I believe we could someday. Imagining it is the first step. In my mind, I hold a picture of a girl reaching out for help and easily finding it. I picture a woman, too, who, having come to terms with her childhood pain, feels that it's within her power to take action against those who hurt her. If this book moves us even an inch closer to a reality like that, if it helps just one person, I will have achieved my goal. Well, you did that, Virginia. You achieved that goal. And we love you. And we stand with you. And we love the survivor sisters. And we will not stop. Virginia right now would say this: I will not stop until justice is served. And they know what they did, and we know what they did, and only one of us is telling the truth. And we know that's us. Thank you.
only time I got to praying for a red light is when I saw your destination as a deadline. It's just normal conversation, babe, it's all fine. Making quiet calculations where the fall lies. It's as good a land, or at least it was. It takes a strong hand and a sound mind. The college kids are getting so young, ain't they? They're correcting all the grammar on a spray paint. And I even gave up driving after nightfall. I got tired of the frat boys with the brights on. It's as good a land, or at least it was. It takes a strong hand and a sound mind. It makes me smile to know when things get hard. Ooh, you'll be far. Ooh, you'll be far from here. And while I clean step in the yard, ooh, you'll be far. Ooh, you'll be far, far from here. So pack up your car, put a hand in your heart, say whatever you feel, be wherever you are. We ain't angry at you, love. You're the greatest thing we've lost. The birds still sing, folks still fight, the boards still creak, the leaves still die. We ain't angry at you, love. We'll be waiting.